In the story we all know and love, the bond between Harry Potter and Hermione Granger was rock solid. It was a friendship forged by fighting mountain trolls, a connection that survived Dark Lords and even worse, teenage drama. But their bond was so deep, so intellectually and emotionally in sync, that for decades, a huge part of the fandom has been asking the same question. What if it was supposed to be more? What if their friendship wasn't the end game, but the foundation for a romance that could have changed everything? Not just their lives, but the outcome of the war against Voldemort? For a lot of people, the official couples felt like a last-minute decision, a detour from the path the books seemed to be paving. So, today we're not just exploring a ship, we're stepping into an alternate timeline. We'll look at the subtle glances, the fierce loyalty, and the sheer intellectual power they shared, and see how a simple shift in their relationship could have led to a more logical and satisfying conclusion. This isn't just about who ends up with whom. It's about how their union would have created a weapon against the darkness more powerful than any spell, and what many believe would have been a better ending. To see how this timeline splits, we have to go back to the very beginning. From the moment they meet on the Hogwarts Express, their dynamic is set. He's the quiet, curious boy stepping into a world he can't possibly understand. She's the brilliant, slightly intense girl who's read all about it. In our story, this is where a friendship of necessity blooms into real affection. In this timeline, it's the start of something deeper. It's a magnetic pull between Harry's gut instinct and emotional intelligence, and Hermione's unmatched academic and logical brain. Think about first year. When Hermione gets cornered by the troll, Harry and Ron save her. But it's what happens after that's critical. Hermione lies to the professors to keep them out of trouble, a move that goes against everything she stands for. In our new timeline, this isn't just her saying thank you. It's the first time Hermione realizes that her neat, orderly world of rules is less important than Harry's safety. She's not breaking the rules for a friend. She's breaking them for someone she feels an instinctive, powerful need to protect. Harry, on the other hand, sees past the nightmare Ron calls her and finds a brilliant, lonely girl trying to find her place. He isn't annoyed by her. He's in awe of her. When they face Snape's potion riddle to get to the Philosopher's Stone, Hermione solves it and tells him, "Harry, you're a great wizard, you know." He says, "Not as good as you." And she delivers that famous line, "Me, books, and cleverness. There are more important things, friendship and bravery." In our timeline, that conversation is electric. It's not just about friendship. For Harry, it's the dawning realization that her mind is a literal life-saving force. For Hermione, it's the first time she values something, his heart, his courage, more than her own intellect. This isn't just friendship, it's the foundation of a deep, complementary admiration. This gets stronger in their second year. When Hermione is petrified by the basilisk, Harry's world shrinks. Finding the Chamber of Secrets stops being about saving the school and becomes a desperate personal mission to save her. In the book, Harry and Ron are totally lost without her. In our timeline, Harry's visits to her in the hospital wing are like silent vigils. He's not just missing a friend, he's missing a piece of himself. The clue about the basilisk crumpled in her hand is a message from her mind to his, a connection that even petrification couldn't sever. When she's finally cured, the movie gives us that iconic running hug. In our alternate reality, this hug is the absolute truth of their bond. It's a frantic, desperate reunion. She doesn't give Ron an awkward greeting. Her entire focus is on the boy she thought she might never see again. For Harry, that hug feels like a piece of his soul slotting back into place. And Ron sees it. Not with the jealousy that comes later, but with a flicker of understanding that whatever his two best friends have is something he's not quite a part of in the same way the foundation is set. They just don't know what to call it yet. Year 3 is where the unspoken becomes undeniable. The circumstances of Prisoner of Azkaban force the undercurrents of their connection to the surface by isolating them together. Think about it. Ron is sidelined for a good chunk of the year, feuding with Hermione over Scabbers and Crookshanks. This leaves Harry in the middle, but he often finds himself siding with Hermione, defending her empathy. In the original story, Harry sometimes gets annoyed by her intensity, but on this path, he starts to see it not as nagging, but as proof of how deeply she cares. Her tears over Buckbeak aren't an overreaction. They're a sign of her profound goodness. But the real turning point is the climax, saving Sirius Black and Buckbeak. When Dumbledore tells Hermione 3 turns should do it, Ron is left behind. What follows is an hour of pure, undiluted Harry and Hermione, working together against impossible odds. Outside of time itself, in canon, it's a brilliant display of teamwork. In our timeline, it's an intimate, transformative experience. As they fly on Buckbeak over the castle, the wind whipping past them, a new awareness dawns. This isn't just a rescue. It's a shared, thrilling moment of freedom. For the first time, they're not just the chosen one and the brightest witch of her age. They're just Harry and Hermione. He sees the unrestrained joy on her face, a look he's never seen before, and a jolt goes through him that has nothing to do with the altitude. It's after the rescue, in the quiet of the hospital wing, that the change becomes permanent. Sirius is safe. They did it. The adrenaline fades, leaving behind an echo of the intensity they just shared. In canon, they're just relieved. In our timeline, they look at each other, and the air is thick with everything they haven't said. Hermione breaks the silence, her voice barely a whisper. "Harry, I was so scared, not for me, but that something would happen to you." Harry's reply is just as quiet. "I wasn't scared, because you were there." It's not a big declaration of love. It's quieter, deeper. It's them finally admitting that their strength isn't just added together, it's multiplied. It's the realization that his courage and her mind are two sides of the same coin. He reaches out and takes her hand, not as a friend, but as an anchor. She doesn't pull away, and as they sit there, hands clasped, the golden trio is forever changed. They walked into that night as best friends. They walk out as something more. Ron, waking up to see them, doesn't need to ask. He can feel it in the air. The unspoken has finally been said. Now that their feelings are out in the open, The Goblet of Fire isn't a story of teenage drama and jealousy. It's the first real test of their new partnership, and it all starts with the Yule Ball. In the original timeline, the Yule Ball is a disaster. Harry fumbles for a date, Ron insults Hermione out of insecurity, and the night ends in tears. It's a painful chapter. In our timeline, none of that happens. The moment the ball is announced, there's no question in Harry's mind. There's no awkwardness with Cho Chang, no last-minute panic. He finds Hermione where she always is, in the library, helping him prep for the first task. He doesn't stammer. He just says, "Hermione, will you go to the Yule Ball with me?" She looks up, a slow, radiant smile spreading across her face. It's not a smile of surprise, but of quiet confirmation. "Of course, Harry. I was hoping you'd ask." This one choice changes the entire story. When the ball arrives, Hermione descends the staircase, not to a shocked Ron and a stunned Harry, but to her date, who is waiting with an admiration that is both public and deeply personal. She's still a revelation in her periwinkle blue robes, but this time, it's not for the world. It's for him. They open the Champions' Dance not as a nervous boy and his date, but as a confident, united couple. And the wizarding world, especially Rita Skeeter, takes notice she doesn't write about. She doesn't write about a tragic love triangle. She writes about the Hogwarts power couple, the boy who lived, and the brilliant Muggle-born witch who is clearly his partner. For the first time, the narrative in the press isn't about Harry's tragedy, but about his strength, and Hermione is positioned as the source of it. Of course, Ron is still jealous, but it's a different kind of jealousy. It's not about Victor Crumb. It's the deeper pain of feeling left out of a bond he can't break into. Their fight isn't about the dance. It's about Harry and Hermione becoming a unit. "You're supposed to be my best mates," he might shout, feeling abandoned. But this is where their partnership proves its strength. They don't leave him behind. They approach him together. Hermione, with her emotional intelligence sharpened by her love for Harry, explains this doesn't change their friendship. Harry reassures Ron that he's his brother, always. It's a messy but necessary conversation that forces the trio to mature. Ron's role shifts from a romantic rival to their most loyal supporter. This new dynamic changes the entire Triwizard Tournament. For the second task, there's no question whose loss Harry would sorely miss. It's Hermione, and then comes the graveyard. When Harry returns, clutching Cedric's body, shattered by Voldemort's return, he doesn't collapse into his trauma alone. Back in the castle, it's Hermione he turns to. She holds him, not just as a friend, but as his anchor in a storm. She listens to every horrific detail, her sharp mind already processing, strategizing, and preparing for the war ahead. In the books, Harry is left alone with his trauma. Here, he has a partner who shares the burden from the very first second. Their love is his greatest shield. The fifth year, under Umbridge's oppressive rule, is canonically Harry's most isolating and psychologically brutal year. He's angry, lonely, and frustrated. But in our timeline, with his and Hermione's relationship now a solid partnership, the entire dynamic of the Order of the Phoenix is transformed. Harry is not alone. The summer is still awful, but his internal state is different. He has Hermione. Their letters aren't just friendly check-ins, they're lifelines. When he finally gets to Grimmauld Place, his angry outburst is still there, but it's tempered. Hermione is there to immediately absorb his anger, standing with him as a united front. This unity becomes their signature all year. The canonical Harry often lashes out at his friends. Our Harry, anchored by Hermione's support, is more stable. He still feels the rage, but it doesn't consume him. Hermione becomes his confidant, channeling his frustration into action. This leads directly to Dumbledore's army. In the original story, the DA is Hermione's idea. In our timeline, it's their first joint leadership project. It's born from late-night talks in the common room, a perfect blend of her strategic mind and his inspirational courage. They lead it together. The students don't just see Harry the hero. They see Harry and Hermione, the leaders of the resistance. The occlumency lessons with Snape are still a nightmare, but the aftermath is different. Instead of stewing alone, he has Hermione to help him dissect the sessions and research mind-calming techniques. She sees firsthand how Voldemort is trying to poison his mind, and it hardens her resolve. Her mission is no longer just to help Harry, it's to protect his soul. When Umbridge makes Harry use the black quill to carve "I must not tell lies" into his own hand, Hermione's reaction isn't just horrified sympathy. It's cold, quiet fury. This is an attack on her Harry. Her care for his wound is the tender, furious act of a partner. This all leads to the Department of Mysteries. When Harry sees the vision of Sirius, Hermione is the first person he tells, and while she's still the voice of reason, this time, he listens. They make a plan together, checking on Grimmauld Place via the Flu network while still preparing for a fight. The battle is still chaotic, but they fight as one. When Hermione is struck down by Dolohov's curse, Harry's roar of rage is a primal scream for his other half. It focuses him. In the crushing aftermath of Sirius's death, Harry's grief is a bottomless pit, but he doesn't face it alone. Hermione, recovering in the hospital wing, is his anchor. She doesn't offer easy answers. She just sits with him in the silence, sharing his pain. They emerge from the ashes of fifth year, not as teenagers playing at war, but as true partners, their love hardened into something unbreakable. As the wizarding world finally admits Voldemort is back, Year 6 becomes about grim preparation for war. For Harry and Hermione, The Half-Blood Prince is not a story of romantic drama. It's the year their intellectual partnership becomes the engine driving the plot. The drama with Ron and Lavender, or Harry and Ginny, is gone. Replaced by a focused quest for knowledge, Dumbledore's private lessons are no longer solo sessions. Harry insists Hermione joins him, arguing that her mind is their greatest weapon, Dumbledore, seeing the strength of their unified front and perhaps recognizing a partnership even more powerful than the one he shared with Grindelwald, readily agrees. The trips into the Pensieve become sessions for 3. It's Hermione who first whispers the word Horcrux after they see the memory of Tom Riddle and Slughorn. She pieces the clues together while Harry provides the emotional insight into Riddle's mind. This focus changes their interactions with Professor Slughorn. He isn't just captivated by the Chosen One, he's fascinated by the power couple of Harry and the brilliant Hermione, who reminds him of Lily Evans. They attend his supper clubs as a unit. It's their combined effort of flattery and strategic questions that finally gets Slughorn to give up the memory. No Felix Felicis required, just the force of their combined personalities. The mystery of the Half-Blood Prince's book also changes. Hermione's suspicion of it is now a shared concern, not a point of friction. They debate the ethics of the prince's spells together. When Harry uses Sectum Sempra on Malfoy, Hermione's horror isn't an "I told you so" moment, but a shared reckoning with the dark paths the war could force them down. So, what about Ron and Ginny? Their roles are clearer. Ron is the guardian of their relationship, the one who reminds them to eat when they've been buried in research for hours. He's their humor and their connection to the everyday. Ginny's relationship with Harry is purely friendly. Her own strength shines through as a key leader in the DA. An ally in her own right, Dumbledore's death is still a shattering blow, but it doesn't leave them lost. In the aftermath, Harry, Hermione, and Ron meet to affirm their shared mission. At the funeral, Harry doesn't break up with Ginny. He stands with Hermione, her hand in his, looking out at the lake. He tells her he isn't coming back to Hogwarts. Her reply is simple. "Of course you won't. We have a job to do." There's no argument. Their path was set months ago. Their 6th year was the year they became soldiers. The Horcrux hunt in the Deathly Hallows is the ultimate test of endurance. In canon, it's a journey filled with despair and tension that nearly breaks the trio. In our timeline, with Harry and Hermione bound by love, the hunt is a focused mission undertaken by a powerful couple and their most loyal friend. Life on the run is still brutal. The cold, The hunger, the fear, it's all there. The locket Horcrux still whispers its poison, but when they're together, its power is weaker. Their shared love acts as a shield, a warmth the locket's cold can't quite extinguish. The dance in the tent, a moment from the films, becomes the heart of this timeline. It's not a fleeting comfort between friends. It's a beautiful, desperate act of defiance. With Ron gone, Harry sees the despair in Hermione's eyes and pulls her to her feet. They sway to the music, a heartbreaking dance of love and memory. It ends not with them apart, but with their foreheads pressed together. A silent vow to see this through. Ron's departure is even more painful here. The locket doesn't just make him feel like a third wheel. It confirms his deepest fear that he's useless next to their powerful bond. When he leaves, he's abandoning his family, and the crack it leaves is devastating. This takes us to Godric's Hollow. It's a pilgrimage for them. They visit the graves of James and Lily, not as friends, but as a couple, looking to the past for strength. Standing before the headstone, Hermione takes Harry's hand, a silent promise that he'll never be alone as long as she's with him. When Nagini ambushes them, they escape with a coordinated magic that shows just how in sync they are. When Harry finds the sword of Gryffindor, the locket almost succeeds in drowning him. But Hermione is there. She shatters the ice and pulls him from the water. They destroy the Horcrux together, its dying screams showing them twisted visions of their fears. But it can't break them. Their reality is stronger. Ron's return, drawn by the light of her Patronus, is a hard-won reconciliation. He has to earn his place, back not just in a friendship, but in a partnership. The trio is reforged, stronger and more honest than ever. When Bellatrix Lestrange tortures Hermione at Malfoy Manor, Harry's panic becomes a cold, calculated rage. Every scream sharpens his focus. He's not just fighting for his friend, he's fighting for his entire world. And Hermione, enduring the unimaginable, holds on to the thought of him. That bond is what keeps her from breaking. The Battle of Hogwarts is the final test, and Harry and Hermione's partnership is on full display. They function as one mind with one purpose. As they hunt the final Horcrux, they communicate with mere glances. Harry's instincts guide them, while Hermione's strategy clears their path. The kiss they share in canon, prompted by Ron's concern for house elves, is replaced. Here, as Ron runs off to prepare for the Chamber of Secrets, Harry grabs Hermione's arm, pulling her back for a fierce, desperate kiss. Not one of panicked relief like in the movies, but one of profound fear and love. "Don't you die on me," he says, against her lips. "You either," she promises, her voice unwavering. Their love isn't a distraction, it's a source of strength. The most significant change comes when Harry learns he is the final Horcrux and must die. In the original story, he walks to his death alone. Here, he does not go alone. He finds Hermione and Ron and tells them everything. The pain on Hermione's face is a physical blow, but she doesn't try to stop him. The brightest witch of her age understands the awful, inescapable logic of it. "I'll go with you," she says, her voice thick with tears. "No," Harry says. "You have to live. You have to finish it. Both of you." This isn't a lonely sacrifice. It's a strategic decision made by a partnership. He is the weapon, and she is the general who must see the war to its end. Their final goodbye is there, in the Great Hall. He kisses her one last time. "I love you," he says. "I know," she whispers back. As Harry walks to the forest, he carries her love with him, a shield more powerful than any charm. It's the strength of a fully realized love between equals that gives him the courage to face Voldemort. When Harry is carried back, seemingly dead, Hermione's scream is one of pure agony. But when the battle reignites, her grief turns into a warrior's fury. She fights with a terrifying brilliance. And then Harry reveals he's alive. The look they share across the battlefield is an explosion of impossible joy. When Voldemort's curse rebounds, Harry stands victorious, not as a lone hero, but as one half of the partnership that saved the world. In the quiet dawn of the new era, Harry and Hermione find each other. They don't need words. They just hold each other, a silent acknowledgement of their victory and the promise of their new beginning. Their relationship, forged in fire, wasn't a distraction from the fight. It was the very thing that made victory possible. In the end, this alternate path offers more than just a different couple. It presents a more cohesive narrative. The victory over Voldemort becomes a testament not just to one boy's bravery, but to the power of a partnership built on intellectual equality, mutual respect, and unwavering love. Harry's emotional resilience is stronger, and Hermione's role is elevated from a supporter to an equal partner. This better ending isn't just about wish fulfillment. It's about a narrative logic that many have felt was hiding just beneath the surface all along. It suggests that the greatest magic wasn't a spell, but the love between two perfectly matched souls. But that's just our take. What do you think? Was the harmony pairing always the true endgame? Or would their romance have been a fatal distraction? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip into a different wizarding world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the stories we love.